listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Sons of Anarchy After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Sons of Anarchy After Show.
Wow, Bing is for doing, and we are doing AfterBuzz TV's Sons of Anarchy Season 5, Episode 11, To Thine Own Self. I'm Keven Undergaro, and I'm so relieved to have my old lady here with me.
I feel the love.
Krisily Kennedy. And, wow, it was really hard last week without you. And I know you're still down. And we got a lot of, at AfterBuzz, we got a lot of support your way.
Yeah, thank you guys for the tweets
and,
as well of support.
And like I said, it was brutal to do this without you.
I can't imagine.
It was so hard. No, you could do it.
Mean, not because
you're a host in your personality, and you love the show, and you understand the show. You'd be fine on your own. It was much harder for me. So I thank you for the fans. It was really hard, and thank you for the fans for being patient. But yeah, no, someone got down on me for I was calling Tig Trig, but only because he's Traeger, and sometimes I go into Trig. But anyway,
it happens.
I have my old lady.
I know.
To help me.
I would have corrected you.
You know, next, by the way, you know, this episode it's crazy. It's an hour and a half. Her and I, during commercial breaks, we're shooting predictions back and forth. And, you know, anyway, we will break it all down for you. Next week, we're hoping to have who in studio?
Fingers crossed, Filthy Phil's coming back. Chris Reed, yeah. We've been tweeting and texting, so hopefully he's eager to come back in and see everyone.
I might have overdipped because we also have John Campea, who is a film critic for AMC.
Bring him on.
So, yeah, so it's just interesting to get that whole perspective.
Yeah, let's do it.
But we'll have so much to throw at Chris, my God.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, without, you know, we will get into the episode, but how great was him at the table questioning Jax?
You did that on your own?
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive. I was a little upset that Jax called him Shrek tonight. I tweeted my support.
I was just more happy
he
got to get some action.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they were having a lot of fun over there.
Yes, they were. Who doesn't in a whorehouse?
It was interesting to see the whorehouse, and then also the brief moment after the vote where they had some shots, and for a very small period of time, it was back to kind of the old days of where bikers were partying and there's girls. Yeah. But it was just like a sliver.
We haven't seen the girls in a while.
Just a sliver.
Hot second.
Just a hot second. So speaking of girls, let's talk about Tara and Jax. And I felt like she was almost trying to explain something. She's come to some kind of conclusion in her head, and she's saying to him, look, I know you love the club, ... And seeing her so enamored by the surgery she's watching and the heart surgery, and she's looking at the monitor and seeing it, you see her face, and I felt like this is what you love.
Right.
You love Sam Crow, and I love being a surgeon. And I feel like she's laying the groundwork down to say goodbye.
Well, we can't forget that originally that was the plan. The plan for all of this to set in motion was that Jax was going to take control of the table.
I think she's saying goodbye to him, though.
Well, I don't know. I think that may come to the table, but originally the entire plan between both of them, Jax and Tara, was that they were doing this as a means to an end so he could get out of the club and they could leave.
But she said she's taking the job
and not telling him.
And she said, and is it like he'll just come around, or I feel like she's just leaving.
Well, she's left before, so it wouldn't. The thing that makes it harder to believe that she would leave this time is the boys, and is the fact that
Wouldn't she take them?
she's so engrossed in everything that is the club right now, and I think that she's having a hard time deciphering what is what. And I do think that she would leave with the kids.
I think
and
she's
be able
laid
to
the
say
groundwork.
goodbye.
I think she's laid the groundwork down to leave. And maybe she would leave without the kids because she's just had it. What we always talk about on these shows, and I talk about on Boardwalk Empire as well, is that it's a tragedy, and they always get pulled back in. So she's not going to get very far.
No.
Between the auto case and God knows what's going on, and we're gonna get into the auto and the mystery man and her. We see Jax react with the lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, listen, she can't get in trouble. But did you notice his first thing was
the Rico case?
Yes, he was first concerned with the Rico case. Then it was, and she can't go to jail. And I think that's what she's conveying. That's what she's sensing. That's number one to you. And you know what? I became an old lady, or like I turned into a Gemma, but really I'm a surgeon. That's the way I am. That's my love.
And I think she's seeing that in Jax, that originally the plan was the family first and not the club second. And I think that because of the events that continue to keep happening and the people that keep dying and the situations that she keeps getting into, now the club is coming first.
Right.
And that's where she's kind of drawing the line.
That's where she's drawing the line.
Yeah. And her face lit up when she saw that surgery tonight.
Totally
it lit up. And we haven't seen that side of Tara. We've seen the darker, pot smoking, playing with herself oddly, with Otto in her head, like weird stuff with Tara. And now finally we're at the point where we're seeing her light up for her again.
Even her little exchange with Unser. And Unser's really beaten down with
Unser's
chemo.
Having a hard time.
He is. And the one thing I just go back to is his line of when the chemo's done, he said, "No, I'm finished." And so I feel like I thought even this episode he could die, but I feel like he's like it's numbered.
Yeah.
Next episode or the one after, I think that's what I feel like.
And I feel like we've all thought that the club was going to be the thing that killed him, and I would prefer it that the cancer is what kills him, because
I don't think it's going to be the cancer. No, I think it's going to be something else.
Do you?
Yes, it's too easy.
No.
Yeah, it's too easy. No, it's too easy.
I don't want Unser to die because of the club. I love Unser.
I think that the club is just in Clay. It's just gross, and I don't know, the club. That's what it does.
It does. Well, it's almost interesting, the fact that he does have cancer, because the club has become a cancer. It's taking over things. Right. It's shutting things down. It's making people die, and the club has become that. So he has it coming from both ends.
Let's talk about Otto and J.O. being his cocky self, and then kind of not so cocky when our mystery man, who I remember from a nice little indie film called The Tao of Steve,
which I have not seen.
Don Logue. Yeah, he's a great actor, and it's nice to see him in this role. What he's up to,
who he is, I
haven't a clue.
I was tweeting during the show with one of our Twitter followers, JD's Unleashed, I believe is his Twitter name, and he was like, "Who is it, and what is he doing?" And it was the oddest scene, I have to say, because I wasn't here last week when he asked for the rosary. I knew right away. I thought he was actually going to kill Tara with it. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that he would kill someone else. I thought he was going to kill Tara just to hurt Jax. So I knew that was all going to go down. But I didn't expect this mystery man to come in. We have no idea who he is. And that line, "I'm not Rico, I'm not a Fed, I'm just a citizen," it's really creepy.
It's either a deeper enemy of the Sons. It could be someone related to the person he just killed. We don't know. We don't know. My feeling, as I said to you, was that as some of the subplots have been lingering all season, close up these next 2 episodes.
They need new ones.
Right, and it's laying down the groundwork for new ones.
Right.
And whether it sticks or not, we'll see. I go back to Jax's first wife. Drea Di Matteo playing. It was remember it was toward the end of the season they brought her in,
right?
And they were laying down the groundwork for something else.
And she hasn't been back.
I just don't think it didn't pan out. I don't think it took. Not saying this will or won't, but I feel as though it's not related, and we're laying down the groundwork for something else for the show to continue.
I agree, because we only have 2 episodes left. We know that they're giving us more episode each week by giving us an hour and a half, which is amazing, but does not help my anxiety level while watching. But we know we have another season coming up as well, so they need to give us something to
and we
to
feel
look
like
onto.
Several seasons, right? That's what he said, right?
We're on what, 5? And I believe they originally slated for 7.
Right.
I read that Kurt Sutter is already writing a new series around his wife. So
so maybe it will be.
I believe that, I would like to see 7 seasons. That's what it was originally slated for, but who knows?
We'll see.
It's grown so much this year that you would think that they would want to go to 7 seasons, but
times have changed so much. We've talked about, I think, before on this show, but certainly on other shows, where a show, first season gets okay numbers, second season gets great numbers, third season kind of peaks. Traditionally, you try to keep that peak as long as you can, and then you teeter down the last 2 seasons before you're out. And now it's so much different that you could be in a season 5 and your numbers are still growing because of DVDs and DVRs and what goes on the internet.
It's true, because they're doing the best numbers and the most fans that they've ever had this season.
It's crazy. I would have to say, Walking Dead is the dominant cable show, but I have to say this is right behind it.
Oh, yeah. And what's great is I hear from a lot of newer fans that are now forced to go watch the other seasons because they're invested in the characters, but they don't know the backstory. And without knowing the backstory, you really have a hard time, which I made you do. Yeah,
you did. Thank God. No, and you're depriving yourself. By the way, you know, there's a term that they're calling for, and Marissa, this is good for you to know too. Marissa in our booth. Marissa's a prospect. But there's a term called binge viewing. And binge viewing is a lot of these shows that have so many layers to them. Fans are now savvy enough to go, you know what? A lot of cliffhangers, a lot of layers. Really difficult for me to watch and then have a week off where I have to wait.
I know.
So they're piling everything up.
Yes, they wait.
And they binge view. They like you made me do for Sons, which I loved. They hole up and they watch a season, 2 seasons, all in a week or something like that. And there was a great article in Variety, might have been yesterday, I'm not sure, but needless to say, about the fact that they believe that binge viewing a couple of the ABC shows, is it 666? Marissa?
666 is on ABC.
And canceled, right?
Yes.
Yes, and it was either that or another. They referred to that. They said it was more than likely binge viewing, where people were like, no, I'll just keep recording it, or I'll wait for it to come out DVD, and it ended it. It's kind of interesting, right? So, but I
did it with Homeland.
I love
the first season.
I
couldn't wait each week. I couldn't because it got me so and so I waited and then watched them all in one day.
It's a really hard show to watch.
It's such a great show.
But it's a hard show to watch because you don't. That show was really hard for me until this season. It was better, but I said with that show, I feared it was almost going to become Keystone Cops, meaning we chase Brody, 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 we never get him.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't. I need you to build up the supervillain, and then we kill him.
Right, which they do very well in Sons of Anarchy.
All the time.
We find him, we kill him on a weekly basis.
Goes back to Sopranos, and you see
we don't wait.
Boardwalk Empire, all of them, Walking Dead. I need my season's worth or 2 seasons worth of villains, antagonists to be built up, and we wipe them out.
Sometimes we wipe them out too soon, like our friend tonight.
Yeah, like our friend tonight.
Yeah, it was a tough night.
It was a tough night. Tough night. Well, before we get into that,
I know.
Please, you guys, continue to go to iTunes for us. You have been amazing. Other than Scandal, we have like a perfect
awesome.
rating here. And we appreciate it so much. Last week, thank you for being patient. It was definitely bumpy. But, we're back to full force.
That's right. And we love reading your emails and comments, too. Like, nothing feels better than, one, seeing other people enjoy the same show that we do, and two, seeing other people that really care what we have to say each week and then give us feedback on it and tell us what they think, because a lot of times I'll read something and be like, oh, I never even thought of that. From the viewers. It's amazing.
You got to see, Kat from Germany, like Ted sent something in last week, and it was incredible. She figured out the whole masturbation thing.
Yeah.
And so we love it. It really helps us to keep going, but also fills in a lot of gaps. And for me, as I'm watching the show, I'm so grateful that you're next to me to watch it, because it's just not fun to watch alone.
Right.
Like,
and because we hit each other and scream at each other the entire time.
The whole time.
My feet are usually up on the chair. It's
very tense and it's fun. And anyway, we appreciate you being part of the experience. And for those people who want to, this is an old line, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you want the people that like seeing how pretty Krisily is, or Marissa every now and again when she throws the camera on herself, then go to YouTube too, and we love your comments there as well. So, Nero, okay, so he's got some problems. His old neighborhood comes back up. You haven't been around. We need guns. We need this, that, and the other thing. He's in the middle of the street arguing with them. Jax goes, I'll get you guys some guns. And then they're about to get Jax in his station wagon, and the boys are about to get ambushed. Becomes a big shootout.
So intense.
Right?
With all of it. It was like the boys came to Nero because they felt like Nero was becoming the son's bitch, basically. I mean, there's no other way to get around it. And they wanted all this power, and they wanted the old Nero back. And then they finally get, okay, you can have your guns, but I'm going to ambush you with 3 cars and semi-automatic weapons. Like, and I get numbers-wise, they thought it would make sense, but it was just bad. But that moment of them in the station wagon going off the side of the hill tonight was probably my favorite moment of the show.
You were freaking out because you thought, like, there was going to be some kind of a death or whatever.
Happy got shot. There was blood everywhere.
But the reaction
was brilliant.
Genius.
It was brilliant. Jax just looking at me, is anybody dead? Nope. Scream. Like, it was just such a great moment. And
what did Happy say? He had a great line. It's rapturous.
He's rapturous. I'm feeling rapturous.
I'm feeling rapturous. Yep. And they were just cheering. It was like,
woo!
They loved it. And I was so excited to see that, because it's always been so tense. And they've been carrying, seems like they've been dragging chains.
Yeah, they've been very heavy.
For the last, say, 2 seasons. And to see them be back to being like, hey.
They were like boys.
That's a lot of fun. Yeah. So that was hilarious.
It was great. But my favorite moment of the show tonight, by far.
It was great. That and I thought letting Chris go get some girls, Filthy Phil go get some girls.
He gets some.
That was fun,
tonight.
But you're right, it was rapturous. So I love that. But Nero comes to think that Jax is abducted by his old neighborhood,
right? Because that's the way that Romeo sets it up. To make it look like it's that. Them, right?
Bobby bites the bait and tells them, and
of course,
and gives him that information, and we see that's the gangster Nero used to be.
Oof.
We've seen this Zen kind of pacifist, whatever, and now we see this is who this guy was.
Yeah, someone that you don't want to mess with.
Right?
Like, he killed his own tonight for us.
Yeah.
For us, like, I'm one of them. I am one of them.
No, of course you're one of them. And so then, only to go back to see Gemma, who's with Clay, and to find out that it wasn't his boys after all.
I know. It was.
That did it.
You saw the pain in him at that moment where he just realized that it was like everything all at once. It was like him realizing that this club has brought him nothing but destruction, that there's nothing left, and it was just so harsh on him. And he went to the only person he knew to go to, and there was Clay. And so he's kind of losing everything.
I have to ask you again. Has his interaction with Gemma and the Sons done anything positive?
No.
I mean, these guys put a stink on everybody, but this guy had his little business, had his little chica.
But it was
working with him.
The only way to get back to where he was by utilizing them this time, because they ruined everything for him. But the only way that he would rebuild was with them.
Because they ruined everything for him. And this is his time to say, okay, I got to get away. And Gemma kisses him and says, hang on.
But he loves her.
And he's dead. There's no way he's going to he can't. Someone who's been around a season or two is not going to outdo Clay.
Oh, I think he'll make it through to next season.
I hope so.
I love Nero, and I love them together. I love wanting to root for Gemma again. Because I haven't in a long time.
I really like Nero, and I Jimmy Smith's a great actor. I do like the character, and I hope he lives, and I hope you're right. He obviously got the kiss from the Black Widow.
Yeah.
So he's going to stay on the hook a little longer.
Of course.
Briefly, finally I get to see Clay and Tig. I've been waiting all season long, like, wait, these guys were best buddies, and they're at a table together, and no interaction at all.
None.
So Clay gets him a beer. He doesn't even open his beer.
No, he's done with Clay.
Done with him.
Yeah, and he also knows that he kind of has to be. Jax saved his life, and Jax is the only thing that's keeping him alive right now. So he has to stay true to Jax. But at the same token, the things that Tig did for Clay were, I mean, God, he killed for Clay constantly, and was constantly under Clay's spell, and he's done with it now. Right. He's realized who Clay is and what he's become, and he's done.
But Clay's still good at what he does.
You know, it's so interesting. The whole episode, they're painting this picture of Clay, of him realizing everything that he did wrong and wanting the good back. And I can't help but think it's all an act still. I don't think he's actually thinking the things that he's saying.
Okay, but it's not him being so saintly, because it's great, because he doesn't say to Tig, if he were what you're saying, he would have said, Tig, you know what, Jax is our leader, we're going to get behind him. No, he said he is running around making deals.
Doing things on the side. Come join me. With
Pope, who killed your daughter.
Right. Well, he's trying to turn them away from Jax.
So I'm saying is he's not, that's why it's interesting. It's great because he's doing some decent things, but there he's totally trying to turn him away from Jax.
Right.
And get him back to his side. And when
Tig won't live if he turns on Jax.
When Tig stood in that moment, was it because he was asking himself, man, you probably have a point there? Do you have maybe was he reasoning to himself, does Clay have a point with this? This guy is sucking up to the guy who killed my daughter. Or was he standing up and saying, you just won't give it a rest, will you, Clay? Same old manipulative old Clay.
I think it was a little bit of both, because I think you saw that in his eyes when he talked about Pope, that is the guy that burned my daughter in front of me. And then at the same token, this is a guy who has lied and betrayed me for years. So I think it was a little bit of both. I think that he heard some truth to what Clay said, but I think he also can't get past what Clay's done.
And out the door he goes.
Done. See you later.
I was so nervous when Jax, well, I guess we'll get into Jax and Tig when we talk about the boys and the Romeo deal.
Yes.
So let's talk about Jax and Romeo. And gets taken in by them. And we've seen Jax plodding along. I know he was talking to Lynn, and you were confused, like, why is he doing this?
I was like, I don't understand.
And I couldn't, because then I'm like, well, if you're confused, well, hell, I'm in another planet. So we understand exactly what's going on.
He was 2 steps ahead for once. Thank you, Jax, for not being behind.
Right,
Clay wasn't ahead this time. It was great.
Yeah.
It was so good to see Jax do it. It was to see Jax that cocky and arrogant in that chair tied up with Romeo was just such a great moment for him, and such a great turning point for why I think the next 2 episodes are going to be so dark, because it showed him.
It's so going to be dark.
It has to be, because this is the calm before the storm. He took everything off the table. He figured out a way to get out of the drugs and out of the guns and out of the feds and out of all these things, and so it seemingly looks great. Which means mass destruction is coming.
But Chris, I love that you just know this instinctively. and that means you have a and I know you work on films and things too, but it shows you have an instinct for storytelling, because they'll always say an old trick in filmmaking is whatever the second to last scene is of a movie. If it's something bad that's going on, if the protagonist is being shit on in the worst possible way, 99% of the time you're gonna have a happy ending, because that last scene he's gonna step up and
it's all gonna go great.
If it's the other way around,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. That's why I knew Tony Soprano was gonna live, because they were just crapping on him so bad,
right.
and they pushed him all the way to the edge, and I felt like he was gonna come out of it, and he did.
True.
And I agree with you. It's not good that this happens with 2 episodes left. It means that we're headed toward tragedy. I personally feel like you got to give me something. Someone bad has to go down.
It's not going to be Clay.
It's not going to be Clay.
So
and I don't want it to be Clay.
I'm
I'm still mad at Pope. I still have people that I have serious problems with on this show that I want to go down, and I'm nervous.
I'm mad
now.
at Pope, but I don't hate Pope, because as much as I miss Obi,
have you grown
as much
to like
as
him?
I hate that the things that Jax has learned from Pope are so beneficial to the club.
True.
So that's the only reason why I'm learning.
I'm
to
growing to
not
like him
hate
too,
Pope.
and he's charming, and
He's
they're
so charming,
and they're doing good business together. So
they
you're
are.
right.
He's teaching
So
Jax.
who do I hate? Help me.
I mean,
I have to hate Clay.
You like Clay.
I just like Ron Perlman.
I mean, I love Ron Perlman, but I'm so done with
So
Clay.
let's discuss. Okay, so let's discuss before Romeo even picks him up. Clay forewarns Jax.
He protected Jax.
Protected Jax
with Romeo.
Okay,
and then forewarned him.
so I'm glad we're getting into this now. I'll be damned if they are not setting us up for the truth that Clay is really his father.
We talked about that.
He keeps saying son, 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 son.
Well, and you know,
I know
funny,
he's always said it, but he's probably always said it because it is his son.
And we talked about that, I believe, even on the after show when all the paperwork went missing, was that the things that went missing were legal documents and birth certificates and death certificates and marriage certificates. And wouldn't it be funny if Clay turned out to be his real father?
And if he were the real father, that's why he would be protecting the son in that moment. So I mean, to me, it also could be a way of getting Clay. It could be strategy, getting Jax off his
strategy.
You would think you could be getting Jax off his back. I'll be the good guy.
Yeah.
And I can get.
I feel like he's just trying to keep himself alive, because now that he knows about all the deals, now that he knows everything, he knows that the only thing that was saving him.
True, but he could have fed Jax the wolves and had all his problems go away.
But the club, then
no.
he has to deal with the club.
No, how they were gonna? He would have had the CIA behind him and Romeo helping him throughout everything. They would have helped that. I'm telling you, this.
Hate him.
I think he might be a father-son thing. We'll see.
It would be a twist.
We'll see, but it seems like that. And he said, "Stop calling me that." I mean, it was like it just felt so on the nose.
Right. Well, especially when he said, "Stop calling me son," because he's always called him son.
He
so
always
the fact that he verbalized that makes you think that that could be what's
Maybe
coming.
he's the dad.
Yeah.
Takes us over to poor Juice. Juice finds the documents, and as soon as Jack says, "Leave them there," I'm like, "No, don't leave them there. Get those things into hot property. I can't believe you found them. Get them out of there."
But I get why he wanted to keep them there, because then Jax could pull them out in front of everyone, so it didn't look staged and it didn't look like Jax was pinning it on Clay. So I understand it, but Juice didn't screw it in all the way.
I don't know. That's a little Scooby-Doo for me.
I don't agree.
You know, when it's or not Scooby-Doo, it's Dr. Evil. Now you're going to die, and I will, go and spend all my money and leave the room, and your body's attached to some contraption, and you're about to die, and then in the last minute, the day gets it. It's Clay. He's slippery. Get those documents.
But without I know, but then there's the question of, well, did Jax really bring the documents? I understand that he was doing it to prove it to the rest of the table. Like, I get why he did it, but it was just stupid. And I mean, we know that we can't trust Juice, unfortunately, and we know that he's not strong enough to be a man about stuff. So why leave that up to him if you know that he's failed so many other times?
Poor Juice, punched in the face, and just go home. And even the way Chibs manhandles him, it's just sad. Poor guy. And, you know, Bobby's like, even referred to him as a traitor and a dead man, and a traitor to the feds. Why are we listening to him? But that being said, talking about Bobby's really, they've spent the last 3 or 4 episodes softening him up and showing problems that
he's having a huge internal struggle with Jax and the club and the things that are going on. It's so evident, and he's constantly saying weird things, and it's like, it makes you wonder where his loyalty is. And the way the episode ended tonight really makes you question his loyalty.
I think his loyalty ultimately is to the club.
I agree. But
I think it's to the club.
It's
obviously nothing else. It's nothing else.
I hope not. Because seeing him go to Clay just made it feel very dirty and very not good. I didn't like the way it felt. And we saw in the previews. You didn't like it?
You didn't like the writing?
I didn't like the way it felt. I thought, I always love I can't really complain about the writing on the show. There's certain things that are just weird, but this moment didn't feel fake for me. It felt really real, but it just felt dirty. Like, it felt like Bobby was going against Jax and the club, and why would he let Clay know things that are going on, and why would he turn to Clay knowing, now that he has all of the information, why would he then go to Clay to protect him and say that I'm saving you? Like, it felt really bad. I didn't like it.
Wow.
I love that about this show, by the way, and I feel like that's what a lot of maybe the viewers like. I love that this show makes me feel about the characters. Like, I love some, I hate some. There's moments where I want to cry and where I love that this show can do that for me.
Before you drop for predictions for next week.
What? We also have to mention, because I know that you didn't know, and so I wanted to share that.
Yes, please.
Last week, in the prison scene where Ron Perlman, where Clay goes into jail to talk to the prisoner, that is Mr. Sonny Barger. He's one of the founding members of I believe it's OC, Hell's Angels in California. He's one of the founding members. He's the real deal, as real as it gets. He used to be on set a lot more. So it was kind of great to see Sonny make a little appearance last week.
Incredible. And by the way, who would have thought? Great actor.
Great actor. He's got a new film that he's working on now. It's Dead in a Heartbeat, 5 Dead in a Heartbeat.
Wait, was he always an actor?
No, not that I know of. It's a new venture for him, but he's written some books. He wrote a book while he was in prison. The book's kind of amazing. I followed his books and things quite closely, and he's just a very interesting person, as you can assume, as a real life motorcycle club member. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see him back on the screen last week, and he is a good actor, and he's not stupid. He's not stupid at all. He's got books, and he's writing motorcycle guides, and he has this movie coming, and so he's a busy man. But yeah,
before we do the predictions for next week.
Okay.
Let's do long predictions, end of season predictions. So I think Tara's gonna fly the coop, but then get pulled back in for legal reasons.
I think Tara might go to jail
by the end of this season.
Possibly.
Okay. Juice, does he die?
I don't think Juice dies this season. I think they drag that out a little bit more.
It's almost a little predictable, right?
It's too predictable, I feel like.
Nero, you think, lives? You already said that.
Yeah, I think Nero definitely makes it to next season. And I think we're going to see more of the back and forth between Nero and Gemma and Clay. Because I also think that Gemma is going to get a little caught up in the Clay mess like she's afraid of. I think that will happen. But I don't think that will start happening until next season.
It was interesting with Clay that he was still being cautious with her. He still wasn't telling her.
Nope. He knows something's up. He knows she's not that easy to get back.
Right. And once she said she's looking for the birth certificates, he knew.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why he looked up and she clued him in. So he's not totally being sap with her.
No. And it'll be interesting to see how long Nero stays around because of what's happening. And she obviously can't tell him, and it's going to be a really interesting kind of web.
Unser goes.
Yeah, I don't think Unser's going to make it to the end of the season.
Sheriff? You think what? You think
Sheriff wants Clay, so.
Right. So he's going to die.
Yeah.
So he's out.
I think so.
All right. Mayor, it doesn't really matter.
No.
It doesn't really matter. So, and Pope, you think survives?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. Damn. There's too many big business deals with Pope, and it can get the club legitimate money.
Okay. All right. Tig.
I mean, we saw in the promo that it says that he's delivering Tig.
I don't want him to die.
I can't even imagine.
We had one fan on YouTube who was like, no, it'll be fine. We've been through this before. I hope he's right, but...
I mean, the only way that makes sense is if they kill Pope and take over and keep Tig. But if they kill Pope, all those business deals with the city and the mayor go bad, and that's bad on the club, and Pope's army's huge.
And where we're seeing Jax say to the lawyer first, so we're out of the RICO Act.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, so with Tara, I don't want her to get in trouble. So we know the club comes first. If the club comes first and all those deals with Pope help the club, then Tiggy's going to go.
Dead.
Oh, man. Okay. All right, let's do predictions at least for next week.
Versus like, really?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
My glass ball.
Well,
we see Clay get his ass kicked.
We don't see his ass kicked. It's just a punch from.
Come on, give me more than a punch.
I know Ron Perlman's looking pretty big.
But I feel like as a viewer, I really need to see Jax take down Clay next week.
If he takes him down in that way, then we are 100% doomed for the season finale.
Absolutely.
Doomed in terms of it's going to be a really, really bad ending for our protagonists. It's going to really be a bad ending. We're going to see...
I hope the mystery man comes back next week, because we know that he's now wanting to talk to Tara. So I'm very interested.
We don't even know.
I mean, he followed her out of the hospital.
Around. Who knows?
Creepy guy.
By the way, we haven't even touched on that. We don't know if Tara just dies. Right? I don't think so, because they're the next Gemma and Clay.
I mean, she could, but I think she'd go to jail before she'd die.
Right. That's what I feel like. Okay, so for next week, I know, and we know Tig is on the hook, because Pope's like, that's it.
Pope's done.
Deliver him in a day.
Yep.
Oh, my God. And it's an hour and a half next week as well,
Hour and a half next week.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll have Chris here.
Chris shall be here.
All right, good.
If not, he's in trouble.
All right, so...
And I'm bigger than him.
At Krisily Kennedy.
No, at Krisily.
At Krisily.
Yes, and keep tweeting me. I love tweeting with everyone during the show. It's
at
fun.
KRISILY. KRISILY.
It's like a little song.
And then over the booth, at Marissa Movies.
That's right.
That's right.
MARISAMOVIES at Marissa Movies.
That's right.
But Marissa, maybe I think we got to do at Marissa TV.
At Marissa TV.
Only because you're in the TV world more than movies.
That's true.
You know?
I just had a Mickey Mouse Club flashback when you started singing that.
Yeah, perfect for this show.
Just a little bit.
All right, you guys, thank you so much. Please, I don't know, tell friends about us, too. We don't say that enough.
Yes, tell your friends about us.
We want the word to get out more.
And happy Turkey Day.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Lots of turkey.
Tomorrow night, biggest drinking night of the year.
That's right.
So, are you doing anything?
I will be having dinner with the Disney princesses tomorrow night, and I'm really freaking excited about it. Yeah.
So you guys
best birthday gift ever.
You're spending the night in the park? Wait,
Maybe.
when's the birthday?
Birthday's Thanksgiving Day.
Krisily.
Best birthday gift ever.
Oh my God! Happy early birthday.
Disney princesses.
Happy early birthday.
Because I'm 12.
And you deserve it.
From motorcycle gangs and killing to Disney princesses.
The princesses. Yeah.
I mean,
well, by the way, couldn't you see Gemma do that?
Yeah, totally.
For my Thomas.
For my Thomas.
My Thomas.
My Abel.
Okay, you guys. Next week, everyone, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.